Edith Carter, a 77-year-old woman who spent her life supporting her family, faces betrayal when her son sends her a heart-wrenching text, uninviting her from dinner. After decades of selflessness, Edith makes a bold decision to reclaim her life. No longer willing to be a silent provider, she finds peace, freedom, and a new sense of strength. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica, the storyteller on the Family Tales channel. Here I'll share stories about love, conflicts, betrayal, and infidelity within American families. These stories offer a deep look into relationships and the challenges families face. Stay tuned and explore with me. If you love emotional stories and want to uncover the hidden secrets in families, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our videos. I'm Edith Carter, and I am 77 years young. I didn't anticipate an extravagant event or a glamorous entrance. What I anticipated was dinner at my son's home, a modest meal, a place at the table, and a few hours with the family I had dedicated my life to supporting. I had just completed the adjustments on the navy blue dress I wear for special occasions. It was simple, yet tidy and respectable, the type of dress that would definitely earn a nod of approval from Marissa, my daughter-in-law. I took a quick look at the clock. The clock had just ticked past 6. Dinner was set to start at 7. Suddenly, my phone vibrated. I grabbed my glasses, anticipating a nudge from Garrett, or perhaps a final inquiry about dessert. However, I noticed the message instead. Your presence was not requested. My wife prefers that you not attend, just like that. 8 words, neither a call nor a conversation. Just a text message. For a brief instant, I believed it must have been an error. It's possible it ended up with the wrong individual. Perhaps Garrett's phone was compromised. However, it turned out to be his number. It was the way he spoke. I lowered myself into the chair, the phone lingering in my grasp. My heart wasn't merely breaking, it was coming apart at the seams. Memories surged through my thoughts. Garrett, a young boy, holding tightly to my hand on his first day of school. Garrett, at the age of 12, wept when his dog died. Garrett was thrilled to introduce Marissa to me, and now Garrett, an adult, informing me that I wasn't welcome. I fixed my gaze on the wall, remaining completely still. Not shedding tears, merely quiet. That was the moment a change stirred within me. After all those years, following all the generosity, perhaps it was time to cease being present for those who clearly indicated they didn't desire my company. The house was silent, unnaturally silent. I got up and made my way to my secretary desk, a vintage piece passed down from my mother, and opened the drawer that held all the financial documents. All folders were clearly marked, all receipts submitted. I retrieved the bulkiest folder. It bore the name Garrett. Within, there existed a wealth of generosity. A $20,000 check to support his business venture, which unfortunately collapsed in under a year. Receipts for tuition from Marissa's journey back to school to obtain her real estate license. Transfers to cover roof repairs, and a down payment for the kitchen remodel that Marissa simply had to have. Every sheet conveyed a narrative, not one of kindness, but of anticipation. My wallet served as their safety net. My name was etched in invisible ink on every corner of that new house. Half a year ago, Garrett reached out to share the exciting news that they had discovered the ideal home, a stunning townhouse with a view of the river nestled within a prestigious new development. He mentioned it would be a destination for everyone in the family. He assured me, "Mom, you'll have your own corner." It seems that corner was missing a chair at the dinner table. I glanced at the brochure resting on my kitchen table. I contributed $120,000 for the down payment. It was not a loan. It was not an investment. It was a gesture from Mother, a way of expressing I'm present. I genuinely care. It seemed as though I had purchased my way out of their existence. I reclined and softly posed the question I had been too afraid to ask for years. Was this affection or merely a deal? For the first time, I took my time to consider their actions without hastily offering excuses. I chose not to support their decisions. I just remained in the reality. I devoted my entire life to giving, and they had come to expect it. I was wide awake all night long. The words echoed in my thoughts repeatedly, feeling unwelcome. My wife prefers that you not attend. As the sun began to rise, clarity washed over me about my next steps. I brewed a robust cup of tea, settled at the kitchen table, and gazed at the pile of papers I had retrieved from the drawer. I grabbed the phone and dialed the bank. Greetings, Fatville Community Bank. How can I assist you today? I clearly stated my name is Edith Carter. Please suspend all automatic payments from my accounts right away. A silence lingered on the line. Are all payments settled, ma'am? Absolutely, each and every one. I also need to cancel the power of attorney that was given to my son, Garrett Carter. I could hear the woman typing on the other end. That's quite a notable shift, Mrs. Carter. I can start the suspension right away, but your signature will be required to complete the process. That's exactly what I desire. Begin now. The ensuing silence was not uncomfortable. It was profound. I have been there for my son, his wife, their way of life, their dreams, and their responsibilities for more than 20 years. That morning, I recalled what James, my late husband, often expressed. Edith, cherish them, but stand your ground. After the woman confirmed that all 174 automatic payments were blocked, I expressed my gratitude, ended the call, and took a deep breath. I didn't recognize the weight of it all until now. The years filled with minor concessions, the subtle rejections, the solitary holidays, while continuing to cover the expenses. That morning, I didn't merely cancel payments, I took back control of my own life. Once more, my phone vibrated. Garrett. I chose not to respond. I composed a straightforward message and gazed at it for quite a while. It's time to take responsibility for your own expenses. Then I switched off the phone and took a new direction in my life. When Garrett arrived at my door, the kettle was already heating on the stove. He barged in without a courteous knock. He rang the bell with an impatient, sharp tone that clearly indicated he wasn't interested in conversation. He was here to assert dominance. I swung the door open, and he strolled in without so much as a pause for an invitation. "Mom, can you tell me what's happening?" he inquired, the concern in his gaze only slightly masking the annoyance simmering underneath. The mortgage payment was unsuccessful. Marissa's car payment failed to process. The bank reached out regarding the halted authorizations. "Have you canceled everything?" I gave a nod. "Absolutely, I did." He blinked. "Everything. Every single one of the 174 transactions." Garrett collapsed into the living room chair as if all the air had been suddenly taken from him. "What's the reason?" I did not raise my voice. I held back my tears. I simply glanced at him and remarked, "You uninvited me from your home, Garrett, the one I assisted in funding. You communicated that your wife preferred I not be present, and you didn't make any effort to intervene. That was an error," he faltered. Marissa felt a wave of disappointment wash over her. "I didn't intend for that to happen," I asked softly, wondering if you truly meant what you said, or if you were unaware of the repercussions it would bring. He averted his gaze. I poured 2 cups of tea and set one down in front of him. He left it untouched. Finally, he revealed that we have Bill's mom, financing options, Toby's educational expenses, the residence. "You have consistently been there for us." I did. I consented. However, that assistance turned into something anticipated. Then it vanished without a trace. Garrett began to speak, but I held up my hand to stop him. "Share with me just one thing you've done for me, Garrett," I inquired, my tone gentle yet firm. "Something you chose to do, not out of obligation, but from genuine desire." "There was one instance that didn't require you to ask anything of me," He remained quiet. In that quiet moment, my answer revealed itself. It was Toby who arrived 2 days later. He appeared disheveled, wearing a wrinkled shirt with dark circles under his eyes, exuding the nervous energy of someone who had never genuinely confronted the repercussions of their actions. I welcomed him in with minimal words. He plopped down onto the couch and rubbed his hands together. "Grandma, I could really use your assistance," he started. "My credit card has been put on hold. I'm unable to cover my rent. My car is past due. I find myself in a difficult situation." I remained steady and collected as I faced him. "What is your outstanding balance?" He paused. "Approximately $7,000. What did you use it for?" He shrugged, steering clear of my gaze. "A few things. A new phone, a getaway with friends, and some parties." I nodded deliberately. "So you've been at it for 2 years now, huh?" "At the insurance provider? Absolutely. What's holding you back from mastering your finances?" He resembled a young boy receiving a reprimand rather than a man of 23 years. "I suppose I always believed I could turn to Mom and Dad, or perhaps you. That's the issue," I stated. "You've all come to rely on me to always be the one to resolve issues, but I refuse to be your second choice, Toby. I'm not here to provide financial support." He leaned in, a sense of urgency taking hold. "Grandma, I beg you. Only this time, I promise I'll repay you." I said it firmly. "No. However, I have something different to present to you." He appeared bewildered. "What do you mean?" "Mr. Whitaker, my lawyer, is in search of a part-time assistant, experiencing, responding to calls. It may not fix all the issues, but it's genuine effort." Toby blinked. "You would really do that for me? I adore you," I expressed, "but I'm finished supporting you. My affection is no longer quantified by wealth." He remained silent, uncertain of how to express himself. This time, I stood my ground. For the first time, he encountered the word no, not from anger, but from a place of love. True love isn't always easy or cozy. At times, it resembles a boundary quite closely. That evening, as the sun sank below the trees, Rebecca arrived with a bag of groceries and a gentle knock on the door. She wasn't here for the cash. She didn't arrive to advocate for anyone. She simply stopped by to see how I was doing. "Grandma," she exclaimed as I opened the door for her. "I spotted Dad earlier. He appeared disoriented. Mom is really angry. Toby is in a mood. The house is a complete mess." I took my time to respond. We sorted through the groceries as a team. She diced the veggies as I cooked the pasta. After some time, she softly inquired, "Are you all right?" I gazed at her, really gazed at her. Rebecca had always stood out, more reserved and contemplative. She always kept her desires simple. She reached out on my birthday. She showed up uninvited. She embraced me for just a moment more. "I'm fine," I replied. After a significant period, I genuinely feel like I'm in a good place. She beamed. "That's great to hear. It sounds like you're making a wise choice." I lifted an eyebrow. "Indeed you do." She gave a slight nod. "I've noticed the way they rely on you, particularly Mom. She consistently wears the finest outfits, drives the most luxurious cars, enjoys the finest dining experiences, and yet it's always you covering the expenses." Hearing those words from someone so young took me by surprise, yet she had clearly outgrown her childhood. She was a woman, and her vision was sharp. "For such a long time, you've been there for everyone," Rebecca remarked. "It's about time you received the care you deserve." We enjoyed a quiet dinner, just the two of us, relaxed atmosphere, genuine interaction, accompanied by a straightforward meal. Before she departed, she embraced me firmly. "I will always stand by your side, Grandma, and it's not about your wealth. Here you go." I pressed my lips against her cheek. "That's everything I've ever desired." In a home filled with pressures and obligations, Rebecca's presence was the only thing that felt genuine. It brought to mind the essence of family, a sense of safety, authenticity, and liberation. The following day, Garrett reached out once more. "Mom, it's time for us to have a family discussion." His voice sounded strained, as if it had been practiced. Marissa's voice reached my ears from the background. "Tomorrow at 2, I mentioned. My home. No unexpected developments. Naturally, there were unexpected twists. At precisely 2 o'clock, Garrett arrived first. He appeared worn out, his shirt crumpled, and his eyes swollen. "Mom," he stated, "I wanted to have a chat with you before the others got here." "What about the others?" He paused. Marissa extended an invitation to a select group of individuals. Her family, her sibling, they have worries. I approached the window and came to a standstill. 3 cars had just arrived at my driveway. Marissa emerged in stunning style, accompanied by her parents, siblings, and a few friends. I glanced back at Garrett. "Did you bring an audience?" She believes he initiated it, but I raised my hand. I slowly opened the door. When the doorbell rang, Marissa stood confidently, surrounded by her team. "Good afternoon, Edith," she exclaimed, her voice ringing out clearly. "We're gathered to talk about this matter together as a family." "This is my sanctuary," I murmured softly. "Not a place for judgment or business, just my sanctuary," and I hadn't welcomed any of them. Marissa blinked, evidently taken aback by the resistance. "Garrett, Toby, Rebecca, and you are welcome to come in. Everyone else can wait outside or depart." Marissa's smile wavered as she glanced at her family. "Kindly remain in the vehicles. We will return shortly." With a heavy heart, they pulled back. Upon entering, I encountered my son, my daughter-in-law, and my 2 grandchildren. So I asked in a composed manner, "Who would like to explain what this spectacle is truly about?" Marissa began her address. "Your financial choices impact everyone involved. My parents' retirement plans, Garrett's brother's circumstances, and Toby's future." I stood there, arms crossed, remaining silent. As she took a moment to catch her breath, I turned to her and inquired, "When did I take on all of that responsibility?" No one responded, as they all understood the reality beneath the surface. They weren't there to mend a relationship, they were there to preserve their way of life. The atmosphere was thick with quiet following my inquiry. Garrett finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "Mom, we've come to depend on your support. You've always been there for us." "We just never imagined you'd stop." I nodded precisely. "You didn't consider, you simply acted." I looked at Toby and asked, "How many times have you come to see me just because you wanted to, not due to a financial necessity?" He adjusted himself in his seat. "And Marissa," I said, looking directly at her, "share with me just one thing, one solitary act you've performed for me without any anticipation of return." She parted her lips, only to seal them once more. "You see," I went on, "what pains me isn't merely the financial loss, it's the obliteration. The moment I ceased my contributions, I vanished from your hearts." Marissa's facade faltered. Her tone grew steely. "This feels like manipulation. It seems you're attempting to make us feel guilty." "No," I said. "I'm being honest with you this time." She rose suddenly. "You'll come to regret this. In your solitude, when no one is around, you'll wish you hadn't pushed us away." I remained unshaken. "Family is more than just a term we invoke when we need something," I said gently. "Every day we decide through our actions, not through our invoices." Garrett glanced up, his eyes glazed over. "What do you want us to do, Mom?" "Say sorry? Request?" "No," I insisted. "I want you to mature. I want you to stop mistaking love for reliance. I need you to go." The words were serene, yet they struck with the force of a storm. Toby remained silent, while Marissa grumbled softly to herself as she exited in a huff. Garrett hesitated, uncertain. I assured him I'd be here. If you ever feel like having a genuine conversation, one that goes beyond finances and dives into our relationship, I'm here for that. He gave a slow nod and stepped out the door behind the others. Just Rebecca remained to embrace me. She whispered, "I'm proud of you, Grandma." I remained silent, simply embracing her tightly. For the first time in ages, I found myself with nothing to prove and only the truth to offer. Half a year went by. For the first time in decades, I found myself not being anyone's emergency contact, financial plan, or silent sponsor. I was simply Edith. Mornings were spent on the porch, enjoying coffee and diving into books I had long neglected. I wandered through the park where James and I once enjoyed our walks. I finally enrolled in an art class at the community center, something I've always wanted to do, but never had the courage to make a priority. Rebecca made frequent visits. She never sought anything from me. She simply came to converse, to enjoy laughter, to open up her world to me. She remained my sole link to the family, and that sufficed. The calls between Garrett and Marissa began to fade away. Following several additional attempts, some were filled with apologies, while others insisted that they cease entirely. Rebecca mentioned that they sold the house and relocated to a smaller apartment. Marissa embraced additional responsibilities.
Garrett has successfully mastered the art of budget management. Toby, much to my astonishment, accepted the position with Mr. Whitaker. I bumped into him once at the grocery store. He appeared weary, yet somehow transformed, less arrogant, more down to earth. We shared a subtle greeting. That was sufficient. What about me? I traveled to Italy. It was James's aspiration, one we had delayed for far too long. However, Rebecca was adamant that I should go. She said, "Do it for you, Grandma. Just this once, exclusively for you." I went ahead and did it. Currently, I find myself on a terrace in Tuscany, observing the sun dip below the undulating vineyards. Lorene, my oldest friend, chuckles next to me while jotting down thoughts in her travel journal. "You seem lighter," she remarks. "I am," I respond. I finally let go of the burden of others' expectations. In that process, I discovered the one thing I had always desired: tranquility. It's more than just silence. It's about embracing one's own essence, the calm resilience of an individual who has found completeness within themselves, independent of others' reliance. That evening, as the twilight brushed the Tuscan sky with hues of gold and violet, my phone vibrated. Garrett's name illuminated the display. Half a year back, I would have picked up before the second ring, filled with eagerness and hope, already going over strategies to resolve whatever issue had arisen. Yet now, I merely gazed at the screen, allowing it to dissolve into darkness. Another promise was the last thing I wanted to hear. I didn't want to be dragged back into a pattern I had finally escaped. Instead, I lifted my wine glass, held it up to the horizon, and softly murmured to myself, the version of me that consistently finished at the bottom, the version that remained quiet at dinner tables where I felt out of place, who grinned through birthdays in solitude, who settled accounts with trembling fingers and named it affection. She had left now. In her place stood a woman who understood that true freedom is not about releasing others, but about releasing the need for approval. I have no obligation to justify my choice for peace to anyone. I am not obligated to share my savings, my time, or my place at a table where I was never truly invited. At this point in my life, what I truly owe is being honest with myself. Later that night, Rebecca sent a text with a photo of her new apartment and a heartfelt message. "Grandma, I can't wait for you to visit. I created a space that's exclusively for you, without fail." With that, a smile spread across my face.
At times, the mark we leave in this world isn't measured by the wealth we accumulated or the structures we created, but rather by the honesty we ultimately shared and the line we had the courage to establish. If this tale resonated with you, pass it along. Someone out there needs to know that it's never too late to reclaim your strength. You're never too old to start anew. That's it for today's story. If you found it moving, don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.